Hello, ladies and gents. It's your guy Lord Wedded. I hope you guys are doing great. Hope you're enjoying your Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone. Make sure to subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. Comment, share, and let me know for other requests. As for the other requests, which brings me to it, Mike, I'll be compiling your videos into one, so I can do the reaction fully. Instead of doing part one, then part two, and then part three, I'll combine them into one, and I'll do it all in one video, my brother. As for your Steam Forward, Sarita, I believe you asked me out of her. She's on the cool list. I'll give you. You can choose. You can get them both, but you choose the one you prefer the most. Will be the first, because the fact that Sarita stood up for Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and said that he was professional with her as he was, that's a sign of respect. That's a good sign, and I checked the match. It's actually a pretty good match, and she worked very well with Mickie James. Anyway, today's not about that topic. This one's for you, Rami. I believe you asked me out of it. An awesome on Braun Breaker, which I think is an awesome too. Kudos for you. Today's your lucky day. And as I said it before, happy Halloween to everyone. Without any further ado, let's get started, shall we? Reason number one why Braun Breaker is awesome. The guy looks in great shape. For his height and his age and all, and knowing the athletic background and all, the guy looks in fantastic shape. Kudos to you, Bronson. Keep up the good work, my brother. And it's a sign of an example to look after for people like the Sami Zayns, the Kevin Owenses, the Johnny Garganos, and all those other schmucks. That's a sign of a competent talent right there. You people should learn from. Reason number two, a pretty cool theme song. I know it's called, there's in the lyrics, "What if I fade away," and blah 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 blah. But it actually kind of rhymes and kind of gets into the mystique of the character. And in my opinion, which I'll be bringing later on, you guessed it, to those of you that already know me about Braun Breaker, I've always thought that the way you could book him properly, he should have been booked like a Batista type character, because that's the kind of vibes he gives. Anyway, now we'll get to reason number three. Very good style of wrestling. Because when you look at the guy, the way he wrestles and all, it's a very good style. Knowing the athletic background, knowing his family lineage and all, the guy works fantastic. Something most of today's mediocrities are not smart enough to understand, that as a wrestler, you have to be multi-dimensional instead of one-dimensional. No, what most of those wrestlers will do, I'll give you. I gotta focus on the in-ring, the work rate, so that marks like Dave Meltzer and neckbeards will give me 5-star matches. Yeah, but you'll get injured all the time. But if you work smart, the likely chances of you getting injured are close to a zero. Anyway, let's go back to, I believe, which was one of the fourth reason. Reason number four. One of the smart ones from NXT. Much like most of those young people from NXT 2.0, most of them are pretty smart and understand the business, unlike the indie jobber schmucks that are being brought up. Reason number five. Already, why Braun Breaker is awesome. The guy does actually a good job on the mic. Because when you look at the guy, the way he talks and he carries himself, the guy understands the business. And he has respect for the business because he has a good work ethic. Kudos to you, Bronson, once again. And keep on doing what you're doing, my guy. You got a bright future ahead of you. Keep on the trajectory you're going in, my friend. Now we'll get to reason number six. Another thing that why Braun Breaker is awesome. He looks good in vignettes. Like, let's say you're having him do like an interview, or like explaining why he did an attack on X, Y, or Z, or whatever. The guy looks fantastic. That's a star right there. Invest in him. Instead of having no, you have have him talk, and you have him be like Batista was many years ago. Just a prime example. I'm just saying. Reason number 7. Another favorite of mine. He's smart and he understands the business. Which is a sign most of the Mark favorites, they don't. The nerds will hype up mediocrities, like I'll give you examples. Gunther or Ilya Dragunov. Well, if you ask any of those nerds, what are Gunther's greatest promos, or like what's Gunther's character, or like Ilya Dragunov's, they'll say stupid shit that has no rhyme or reason, mind you. While Braun, he looks like a legit badass that can get the job done. You could present him as a Batista archetype. You could present him as such. Anyway, now I believe already we're at reason number 8. My actual favorite. Upgraded from Cora Jade to Easy Dave. Better choice, my guy. You did a way better choice. Because in all honesty, don't get me wrong, Cora is a good looking chick. But you deserve better, my guy. She's not fit for you. She belongs in the streets, my guy. Congratulations for getting Easy Dane. Congratulations, and I wish the both of you much more to come. Now we're already at reason number 9. Another favorite of mine. He doesn't leech off his family's legacy. You don't see him. The cool thing about Braun Breaker is that you don't see him prostituting his family's legacy the way a certain someone did it, whose career has been nothing more than his former theme song, and you know who I'm referring to. Mr. Smoke and Mirrors, Cody Rhodes. At least, Bronson is a smart guy that understands, yeah, I have my family's lineage and all, and I respect it, and blah blah blah. I'll be my own man. Something that even like Dominic Mysterio does, and I get given him credit for it multiple times. At least Dom tries to be his own man. That's a sign of when I give you praise and I acknowledge this. It's a sign of you gotta keep on doing what you're doing. Reason number 10 why Braun Breaker is awesome. Could make a Batista type of gimmick work, because if you remember Batista back then, like let's say early 2003, 2004, when he had the older song, not the Saliva I Walk Alone, the one before, the that one, when he had only the acoustics version with no lyrics on. Braun could have made such an archetype work from the get-go and should have been booked as such, but no, I gotta humble him a little bit. I gotta have him lose to hobo Sami Zayn, because I have Sami Zayn be my Goldberg, my Ginger Robert De Niro looking Goldberg. No, it does not make any sense. If you see the two nose men, in all reality, you'll have Braun making circles around Sami Zayn. But no, according to you, I'll mimic what you're gonna say, Noseman. I axiomatically can deduce it. You don't understand, Walid. Sami Zayn paid his dues on the Indies when he was wrestling in front of 5 neckbeards in ROH. Braun is just a young one. He needs to be humbled. No, Noseman. You're absolutely wrong, and you're proving that you are an absolute idiot by thinking that way. Sami Zayn was a mid-card in ROH, which means he absolutely sucks. And Braun deserves better. He should have squashed that mediocrity, and should have squashed Gunther, mind you. Even let's say he lost dirty, the IC belt, and when Gunther was with the World Heavyweight Championship, blah 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 blah. The man is sacred, blah, 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 rambling on incoherently. You should have had Braun Breaker come out here, break him in half, squash him, and take the title. You would have made a star sooner. I'm just saying. Reason number 11. A favorite of mine as well. The segment where he destroyed the NXT Whack and Old logo. That's a sign of that guy is cool. Yeah, it was scripted and all, but kudos to you. At least you destroyed that mediocrity, that smart fed that was Whack and Old. Instead of developing stars, what it did is bring a bunch of indie rejects keep them the way they were, not change anything, mind you, or improve anything. No. No, you gotta be the same as you were on the indies. You're a hard-working journeyman. And also the other one. Oh, I have an amazing idea. We're gonna give them ridiculous names, and it will be fantastic. Oh, don't even get me started on that idiot William Regal with his ridiculous names. Dear God. Which is why I miss Jim Ross. At least he had cool names and he knew how to hire talent properly. This is not about them, this is about Bron. And from there, I knew that guy is cool and you should be developing a similar archetype. Reason number 12 why Bron Breakker is awesome. His NXT theme song is actually cool. And it actually fitted the type of character, the type of persona he had. And that's a sign of that person is going to be a success. When you have a theme song that actually fits the persona, and the persona behaves in a way that correlates with the theme and the elements that create that character. But no, you have like inconsistencies like many others. I don't want to spend my time talking about those inconsistencies, mediocrities. You guys have already deduced it. Anyway, we'll get to now reason number 13. The guy is an actual pro. A prime example where I knew that this guy is a pro right there. I believe it was when Beards were attacking his father due to some comments and all. He said, I speak on my behalf, and blah. He carried himself like a pro. Instead of throwing temper tantrums and blah 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 blah, he spoke like a Chad. And that's a sign that you're cool, Bronson. Keep on doing what you're doing, my guy. And now we'll get to reason number 4. One of my favorite, another favorite of mine. The Steiner-Man promo. Oh my god. I remember that with I believe it was WrestleMania when he had to face like Penta is cero mierdo. Dominic! And Finn Balor, the world's biggest jobber of all time. And I believe Pat was like a 25% chance, and then it started with 37.5. Add to it like 15 and whatever, 62.5, and it had to 129.5% chance of winning. If I'm correct, or if I don't remember exactly how it went, you'll correct me on it in the comments below. It'll be much appreciated. Thank you very much, ladies and gents. Reason number 15. No matter what you can give him, he can make it work. Let's say you were to put Bron Breakker as a face or as a heel. The guy would make it work. Because the guy, he's young, he's smart, and he focuses on the good traits. He's the jack of all trades. The prime example of what a competent wrestler is. Reason number 16. He stood his ground with that cuckold Adam Pearce. When like Adam Pearce tries to act his all tough and blah 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 blah. At least Bron was not intimidated. He was like, say please. Or like he acted the way any normal person would. Because if you look at Adam Pearce, there is no chance in hell, and I mean no chance in hell, that you'd be intimidated by that jabroni. Even if he's like your boss or anything, but you cannot take him seriously. Why? He acts all tough and his biasness. Much like same thing as Nick Aldis and that incompetent Ava Raine, which makes me wonder how could such a cretin keep a job while being such an incompetent. I know she's your daughter, Dwayne. No offense to you, my guy, but your daughter is an absolute cretin. She inherited nothing from you. Unless you taught her how to be the world's biggest insecure, maybe. Anyway. What I respect about Bron Breakker is at least he stood his grounds up like a Chad. He wasn't like intimidated by like a oh no, blah, 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 blah. No, you stood to your ground because there is no reason to be intimidated by such a schmuck like Adam Pearce. Which is the worst manager, mind you. In all authority figure, I'd rather have Eric Bischoff for all I care, bragging about his 83 weeks than that jabroni Adam Pearce. Reason number 17 why Bron Breakker is awesome. A very good athlete. Because when I was looking up at a few things about Bron in order to come up with the reasons, I had a few, but I needed just a complementary reasons. Because I was around 17 and all that I started thinking. The first one came up axiomatically. That I've noticed the guy, since his high school days, was practicing sports and all, and the guy is very competent at it. Hats off to you, Bronson. Reason number 18. He's a very ambitious young man. And as any good worker and everyone that has a modicum of self-respect should. When you're young and you have talent and all, you should be ambitious. I know sometimes when you go to venues that aren't meant for you, you're going to encounter mediocrities that want to hold you down, that want to crush you down because they know you're surpassed them. But when you're in a venue and you're surrounded by good people and all a good mindset, you'll succeed no matter what. And now, last but not least, reason number 19, why Bron Breaker is awesome. He's filled with potential and can go very far if booked properly. Because if he's booked properly by, let's say, if someone like Vince Russo was to see Bron Breaker as an example, he would book him properly the way any booker would. Or like back then, if Vince McMahon was still around, he would see him. He's like, damn it, I know he's not like Batista, but I can make something out of it and present him as such. Yeah, the bears will love it. That's what you would think. But no, Newsman, he's like, no, I gotta book them all 50-50 so nobody can upstage me because I'm such a petty, insecure, vindictive idiot. Because you have to understand something, and I'll even like to give it like a bit of a side rant. I know I've said it on the comments on the Heels Advocates channel. Big shout out to you, my guy. When you said about the part of Noseman being an incompetent, it's not he's an incompetent. I'd like to correct you on that. Is that he is a petty, spiteful, vindictive piece of shit. And here's what I mean by petty, vindictive. Pettiness is that he knows the guys that will work, but he will intentionally sabotage them because everything has to be about him. Because he's the massive glory hog. A prime example, if you prefer someone with a similar mindset, Prima Donna Phil. He is the same thing. And like pettiness, as I said, he was petty and vindictive and stupid. Vindictive is that he holds grudges. If he sees you like as a threat or like someone that can upstage him, he'll sabotage you voluntarily, even if he knows you'll benefit him. He doesn't care. As long as his ego has to get his shit in. He has to have the last laugh. He wants to hold you under his thumb, if you prefer. He's like a compulsive manipulator. Exactly. Anyway, now we'll get to the bonus reasons why Bron Breaker is awesome. Because I have to make it correspond with you, Rami. And I'm sure you understand what I mean by it. Bonus reason number 1, which is reason number 20. The guy has cool hobbies. Because what I saw, you'll see him like fishing and having other cool habits that any working out and all, and like all other cool people would do. Reason number 21. A very well educated man. I do not know Bronson Rex Steiner personally or Bron Breaker on a personal level, but I can deduce from the way he presents himself and the way he carries himself and all, that he's a very well educated man. And that's the reason I know most of you are going to say, we've heard it all before on your awesomes, Whaley. Yes, I know you've heard it all before because it's a similarity, a common factor if you prefer, between all of them. Reason number 22, handle things like a pro, which correlates with the reason number 13 earlier. Because you won't see him throwing like hissy fits or blah 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 and being like a crybaby moron if you prefer. No, Bronson will handle things like a professional would and would carry himself all the while remaining to his persona. So you won't be saying, man, that guy fucking sucks. No, you'll be saying, yeah, that guy's pretty cool. He just needs to be booked properly. You can get something out of him, same thing as an Austin Theory. If you wanted to make like the Vision as a rip-off evolution, here's what you should have done. Yeah, you get the manager part. You get like you wanted to present Seth Rollins as a Triple H, even though there's no similarities between the two. If you wanted to present it as such, hear me out. If you wanted to present it as such, here's what you should have done. You get Austin Theory as an archetype similar to a younger Randy Orton. Same for Braun Breaker as a Batista archetype, and you'll have Seth Rollins rambling on incoherently thinking he's Triple H, even though he doesn't have 1 ounce of the talent that Triple H had as a wrestler. But now, Fraud Levesque, it's a different story. It's just a Triple H getting more power and delusions going through his head. That summarizes it. Who Paul Levesque and Triple H are. If you wanted to do this vision, here's how you should have done it. But no, I gotta put Bronson Reed instead. Because he's a fat neck beard and it makes sense. Stupid idiot. I swear if you were next to me, nose man, I'd slap the living dog shit out of you. Reason number 23, I believe, which is bonus reason number 4. Does his job and leaves and spreads cool aura. Because when you see like Bronson, yeah, he does his job and he leaves. Yeah, he meets his woman and blah blah blah. They do their stuff. They're free. They live their life and all that like cool people would. You don't see him like, yeah, he has a woman and he goes hanging around other ladies like, oh, I seek validation. I'm trans man. No, Bronson is cool and he knows his value. He's not an insecure comic book nerd who seeks validations from ladies. And he doesn't do sexual harassment because he knows that if you behave the way trans man does, it's called a sexual harassment kind of thing. But you know, the degenerates in the locker room, no, fanboys and blah blah blah. No, they'll defend it no matter what. No, he's just friends and blah 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 blah. Idiots. Because they know the marks are idiots and they will defend him no matter what. Now we'll get to reason number 24, aka bonus reason number 5. His name matches his persona. Another sign that Braun Breaker is pretty cool is, as I said previously, the theme song, the looks, the style of wrestling, the way he carries himself and all, as well as the name, all of those factors combined have to have a rhyme and a reason to make the character work. If you prefer, I'll say it in French. Chaque élément doit avoir une rime et une raison d'être pour que ce personnage soit un succès. An example of a character that was a success, Brock Lesnar. I know the nerds hate him. He's a sex offender. He just suplexes. Suplex City. F5. But that's the point. Brock Lesnar does not need to do flips and blah blah blah. He can do them, but there is no need for it. Brock Lesnar's character is that he's a legit badass. He's a beast. He'll come, he'll wreck your shit, and he leaves. You have him like a mercenary type, if you prefer. Like a Brock Lesnar. His theme song, his name, and everything matches flawlessly. If I was his manager, or like you'd have Paul Heyman, or like you'll have any one of you guys as his manager, which I'm talking to about my subs. Any one of us, or anyone on my Twitter community, if any one of us were his manager, Brock Lesnar would still be Brock Lesnar. And that's a sign of a competent talent. Which brings me back to Braun Breaker, that if you, like let's say you don't want him to talk, you'll get a manager for him, and present him like a Batista, but the guy can talk actually. So instead of having no, have him talk and have him carry himself like the badass that he is. Plain and simple. And the final reason why Braun Breaker is awesome, to complete it, and I'm sure Rami you guessed the reference, He draws cool people. If you are to show him and present him like a champion of something, he'll be believable. And the type of people he would attract are the cool people like we had back in the day. Like when you had people, like if you were to show them 15 to 20 years ago, if you were to show them like a Batista, a Randy Orton, a John Cena, who else? A Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Rey Mysterio as an example, Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul, Shawn Michaels, Edge, even Fraud Levesque, mind you, The Undertaker, Kane, who else? If you were to show them, who else? Christian back in the day. Let me see, who else could I think of? A Jericho or someone of that caliber. I'm just saying. These are just a few examples I could think of on top of my head. As for the ladies, if you were to show like a Trish Stratus, a Lita, Tori Wilson, a Candice Michelle, a Dawn Marie, or like who else? Michelle McCool. Who else was a cool looking chick? Lorraine, for example. Many others. I'm just saying. Those ladies and those men were to draw you normal people. But no, nowadays when you have gooner materials like Rhea, no, what you're gonna draw is nerds and degenerates. That's what you're gonna draw. Which is why we need more people like Braun Breaker or like, let's say who else, an Izzy Dame or like a Tiffany Stratton or like a Fallon Henley, JC Jane, or like who else, let's say one of those young ladies that have something there. I know I've said like JC Jane, Fallon Henley. Who else? Like, I know I don't like her current name, but a Mariah May, mind you. Or like a Toni Storm, or any lady of that caliber. You draw normal people. Instead of having a weird obsession of Oedipus complex. No. If you want to make wrestling cool again, draw the normal people. Chase away all the nerds and the degenerates and the neckbeards. Chase them all away. That's how you'll get viewership and you'll have a good product, for God's sake. Anyway, I hope that's about it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to give this video likes, comment, share, and subscribe. If you aren't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Today is your lucky day. Subscribe already. And I'll be continuing this week until Monday for all the requests that have been asked out of me. As for you, Angelo, I believe you asked me, I believe it was a socks on Bailey and Bronson Reed. The one who you hate the most, I'll do a socks on him. If it's Bailey, I'll do a socks on Bailey. As for your steam forward, the one you prefer between Sarita and Maria Kanellis, the one you prefer the most will be done in first. So with that being said, I'll see you next time, ladies and gents. Peace out and much love.